May I come in, sir? Secretary Van asked for permission after knocking on the door of the CEO's cabin. It was lunch hour and her annual leave was approved. So, she just wanted to inform him that she is going to be on leave for next few days. Come in. Namjoon managed to speak while signing on some documents. Namjoon knew it was Van, obviously from the familiar voice. Here's the documents I have already signed. But for the first time, Namjoon was interrupted. Sir, my annual leave has been approved. I will be leaving soon. I just came to inform you that from today, Miss Kim would be the alternate secretary. She will come here anytime and take those documents. Huh? What did you say? Namjoon finally raised his head and looked at Secretary Wine after signing on the documents. My annual leave has been sanctioned and I'm about to leave. When managed to speak, her heart had already started pounding as Namjoon told her to repeat her words, but fortunately, just then, Miss Kim, the alternate secretary, knocked on the door. May I come in, sir? Namjoon paused the conversation with Van. Come in, please. Miss Kim entered into the CEO's cabin. Please take these documents to Minyoung's cabin. Namjoon spoke in a stern voice, maintaining a solid eye contact with Van. Miss Kim nodded and gently took the documents from Namjoon's table. She didn't dare to utter a single word as Namjoon's dragon eyes were fixed on Van. To Miss Kim, it was not clear whether he was angry or not, but it was clear that he was dissatisfied. The CEO's cabin was completely silent. Only the sound of Miss Kim's shoes were heard as she didn't dare to waste an extra second in Namjoon's cabin. So, you are on leave now, Namjoon chuckled. And you didn't need to tell me. But you were the one who had approved my application, I replied. We are living together for almost a month, Van, under one roof. We have been in a relationship for more than a year. We are in the office, sir. You just can't bring your personal matters and discuss in your cabin. Wearing a gentle smile, Van spoke. You are on leave and this is the CEO's cabin. You are not the employee who has the authority to show me my limits. Obviously, Namjoon was angry. Sir, I'm leaving now. All the best for your upcoming projects. Van bowed gently before leaving the cabin. If you dare to leave the house before I go back home. Namjoon's voice was loud, stern. Van turned. Don't worry, I will be in the home. She smiled before opening the door of the cabin. Namjoon had completed his work for that day, but still he needed to stay in the office. He took his phone and started stalking Van. Van, his secretary, come a major shareholder of the company and coincidentally his girlfriend. It was already 7 p.m. in the evening when Namjoon pressed the doorbell of their apartment. After a few seconds, Van opened the door. Namjoon almost scanned her with his dragon eyes. She was looking normal. Her expressions, her body language, everything was normal, but still, he could smell something fishy. Namjoon was bounded by the rules of their home that they had decided together, and one of the rules was there will be no talk of work at home. He stopped Van and embraced her. Welcome home. Van giggled as Namjoon stamped his lips on her forehead. He was changing his shoes when he noticed Van's luggages. You are moving out? Namjoon asked her. No, I'm going home. Van almost whispered. Home? All of a sudden? Is everything alright? Namjoon frowned, but soon he remembered Van had submitted the leave application a month ago, just after moving into this apartment with him, and now Namjoon's eyes were fixed on her, expecting she won't lie, which she hadn't done yet. Everything's alright. I was missing my home, so one stammered, and that meant Namjoon to narrow his eyes. I want to tell anybody that I am in a relation with you, one uttered. Oh, Namjoon nodded. He knew Wen was not lying, but she has never discussed about disclosing their relationship. Though Namjoon wanted to tell the world about Wen, but he decided to wait for Wen. So you're living? Namjoon gasped, though he knew she is going to be back in a few days. Still, for some reason, he wanted to be with her while she would be in her hometown. Yeah, Wen sighed, like she was getting ready to face something hard. When is your train? Namjoon asked, and he definitely could feel something strange as Wen answered, I have booked a flight ticket. I will be leaving after dinner. You are a Guangxi girl. You were born and brought up there, if I'm not wrong. Namjoon arched his eyebrows. My mom and dad live there. My mom's job is based on that city, so I was born and brought up there as a Guangxi girl. But this time I'm going to the place where my great grandfather lived. I am going to the place where my roots are. You will be leaving after dinner, right? Let's have a quick tic-tac-toe series. After every set, I would win. I will ask you a question and you would have to answer. This time, Namjoon was feeling anxious. We will play tic-tac-toe next time and I will answer you every single question, but for now, I'm in a hurry and I actually don't want to disclose anything about this tour. Wen's answer made him more suspicious and worried for her. Namjoon quickly changed and joined Wen at the dining table. They were eating silently when Wen broke the silence. You are not going to stalk me. Stalk? Who? Why? Namjoon asked as she told him that, but soon he calmed down, inhaled deeply and said, Okay, then promise me. You will call me? I will. Wen nodded and her this action made Namjoon more suspicious. Wen, do you want me to go with you? I'd love, but I know you have your responsibilities, so you simply can't. I don't want you to feel guilty. Wen smiled and pecked on his lips. Her last few words made Namjoon almost heartbroken. He was feeling bad and he couldn't make any excuse. Wen, as his secretary in the office, actually knew that they just can't be in live as Min Yoongi, the co-partner, was not in the town at that time. Namjoon, as the CEO of the company, had to consider this situation, but the boyfriend inside him wanted to go with Wen. He wrapped his arms around Wen. When will you come back? In a few days, but what if I became fat or thin? If I become fairer or my skin become tanned, will you love me like this? Wen questioned him and Namjoon chuckled. You and fat? You have stopped eating like the pig I have fallen in love with. After a few days, I think you have to shove from the baby section and you are gradually reducing your weight. You were already a few shades darker and this shade and weight thing wouldn't bother, but you leaving me all of a sudden definitely bothering me. Namjoon's words made Wen feeling guilty. Her eyes were filled with tears. Bye, Namjoon. Take care of yourself. Bye, and you need to take care of yourself. And don't forget to call me. Namjoon waved his hand. Wen hopped inside the cab and Namjoon's eyes stayed on the road until her cab disappeared from the road. Namjoon entered into the apartment and sat on the bed. He was told not to stalk Wen. That was the only thing that was going on his head. He took his phone and as he touched on the icon of the Instagram app, he could see Wen was mentioned in someone's story. The caption that girl wrote made it clear to him that the girl's meeting was unexpected and probably they were going to the same place. And finally, on Namjoon's phone, a notification popped up. It was Wan's message saying the flight is about to take off. Good night. And Namjoon's face was brightened instantly, obviously because of Wan's message, but now he could relax as there was someone who was updating Wan's journey. After 8 hours long flight, the aircraft finally landed, and after connecting domestic flights for another 2 hours, Wan was feeling quite exhausted. She still needed 4 more hours to reach her home, and her cousin sister updated her story on Insta. Looking at the latest Insta story, Namjoon tried to calculate. The girl who was constantly tagging her most probably Wan's relative, might be her cousin, and both of them were looking happy. It means everything is really alright. Might be they're going to their ancestral homestead because might be there something special. Without thinking about anything, he applied for leave for a week, and coincidentally it was approved by Yoongi within a moment. And within a moment, incoming call from Yoongi was flashing on his smartphone screen. Without wasting a single moment, Namjoon received the call. 여보세요. Is everything okay? You have applied for leave. When is in leave? Yoongi asked in concerned voice. She went to most probably her ancestral homestead. She had only told me that she's going. Namjoon sounded a little helpless. Oh, don't worry, Hyung will solve your problem. Yoongi disconnected the phone call and dialed Wan's number. After solving the Wi-Fi hotspot problem, Wan called back Yoongi. 여보세요. Yoongi responded in a serious voice. Wan, where are you? Wan was exhausted and Yoongi sounded too serious, so she revealed where she was without hesitating. I'm in India. And why are you there? Yoongi asked. Oh, actually, we all cousins decided to spend the last Monday of this auspicious month together. Wan spilled the truth. Auspicious? Oh, okay, enjoy. Yoongi softened his tone and disconnected the call. Yoongi had traced Wan's location before calling Namjoon again. I have sent you her location. Go and surprise her. You have talked to her and she answered. Namjoon asked and Yoongi nodded. They. It was already evening when Wan finally lied on the bed. Sipping on her favorite cup of coffee, the first thing she did was taking her phone and dialed Namjoon's number. 여보세요. Namjoon's voice was heard. I miss you. Though she had planned to say another thing, but when she heard his voice for the first time, she realized they were so far from each other that she can't even touch him, and that realization made her to choke emotionally. Miss you too. Namjoon chuckled. How are you? Feeling jet-lagged? They, unharmed. Will you mind if I share you something? I mean, I planned to hide this side of mine from you, but honestly, I wish you were here with me. I know it's impossible actually. It's Adhik Maas and the whole month is considered as the most holy month, and there is a ritual that is celebrated in my ancestral homestead, and I mean my all cousins had planned to experience the ritual. I mean, it's tough, yet we wanted to experience it cause we wanted to stay connected with our roots, and I'm missing you. I thought you would love if I had told you these all things. Wan gulped down an amount of saliva to stop herself. Namjoon was surprised at her sudden confession. Yet it was solution of all his problems he could face, as he was already in airport, all set to surprise Wan. If you say I can go to you on leave, so think properly. Namjoon spoke in a flirtatious voice. Please, Wan chuckled. Then stop scrolling down the phone and close your eyes. If you want to enjoy tomorrow, you have to overcome your jet lag. So sleep and meet me in your dreams. I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. Namjoon smiled. The next morning, Namjoon was still 2 hours road driving distance from Wan's shared location, and he could feel the vibe, the atmosphere. He saw the roads were very crowded. People of all ages and genders were merely carrying water, chanting something that obviously he couldn't understand. The overall picture of the entire road was more or less the same. And the car stopped. Namjoon was tired, but he didn't want to lose the chance of this lifetime experience. But what he saw after getting out of the car was something that blew his mind. He saw Van for the first time in her traditional attire, and he couldn't stop himself from gasping. Namjoon wasn't sure what she was doing. To him, most probably, she was trying something with some kind of white dust powder. He knew nothing about kolam, yet he instantly fallen in love with that scenery. No one in the house knew about Namjoon or about his arrival, but as he asked about Van, he was dearly welcomed by the family. Of course, it was clear to Van's family that he was someone she had invited. Namjoon planned to surprise Van, and Van was busy doing the column, so Van's cousin requested him to get some rest after freshening up. So Namjoon was taken to a room. The glimpse of Van in a traditional attire flashed in his vision, and he was craving to have more of that. After a few hours of resting, Namjoon was feeling quite better, and as he looked out of the window, he saw something unexpected. One was wearing beautiful traditional attire, and she was all ready to go somewhere. Being the perfect boyfriend, he noticed something and kind of fallen in love immediately. The red border on her feet, the attire she was wearing was simple, but when he closely noticed her, he kind of discovered that she was wearing some kind of makeup and jewelry as well. Namjoon had never seen her to wear clothes that would expose her skin, as she didn't want to get tan, and the one he was looking seemed to him like she was enjoying her cheat day. Soon, with her all family members and cousins, she went to fetch the water from river. She was not used to with the traditional attire, so it was obvious that she would stumble, and she stumbled just in front of the main gate. She was stabled by one of her cousins. Where is your friend? That dimpled guy? I can't see him here. One thought she was being teased. Being completely unaware of Namjoon's arrival at her home, she smiled. He's resting? Resting. He curled his eyebrows in confusion. Van, I must say, I never thought you could be look like human. I mean, all these years having the darkest dark circle, I thought you would register yourself as ghost, but you were looking pretty, like 4 step promotion in one jump. It's almost 14 kilometers. Don't worry, even if I could be able to walk the whole way, even if I could be able to offer water, I will get demotion. Even ghost would stop me and reject my application. When casually shrugged her shoulder. When it's more than 14 kilometers, you have to walk, it would be around 29 kilometers. 14 km for going, 14 km for coming back, and with water. The probability of raining and thunderstorms are low. It's good in a way, but the highest temperature would be around 35 degrees centigrade. I don't know about the ghost, but definitely your dimpled friend would reject you. Her cousin teased her. My dimpled friend? Okay, who told you that I have a dimpled friend? One friend and her cousin casually answered. That 6 feet tall guy who had arrived early in the morning? What do you mean? He's here? Literally, Van was confused. Either she would panic or be happy, as she wanted Namjoon to see her, but She knew after covering almost 30 km by walking under super hot sunlight, she might have blisters on her feet. She might be tanned, probably be looking like zebra in front of her bathroom mirror for next few months. He's here. One of our cousins is with him, and I gave him the key of the car you have gifted my mom a few years ago. He tried to calm her down, but that made her more anxious. But he doesn't know how to drive. Obviously, Namjoon was being guided by one of Wan's cousins, probably the youngest one, who just had finished his schooling. Namjoon had taken his camera with him and didn't lose a single chance to identify his precious girlfriend and captured her photos in his lens. After knowing and being confirmed that Namjoon was in her hometown and her youngest cousin who just got his driver's license was with him, she huffed. She felt happy, and as she looked at her arms, she was already a few shades more brown. But the best part was the river. After placing her little kalash in line, Van, with all her cousins and neighbors and other villagers, dived into the river. Although the river was shallow, it had a current. One could feel much more relaxed. She was not thinking about getting tanned, not insecure about Namjoon, not conscious about Namjoon seeing her all tanned. The theory of two-finger amount of sunscreen application flashed in her mind, and she smiled. The concept of being conscious about being beautiful was getting banished as the devotees chanted Har Har Mahadev. Van had to get out of the river as one of her sister-in-laws called her for Kalash Pujan. It was almost 12 o'clock, and there was no trace of clouds. Van held her kalash, and the priest drew an Om with vermilion on her brass kalash. One after another, all the devotees took their respective vessels and dived into the river and filled their vessels with river water. Van did the same. Though she didn't know all the rituals step by step, but her family members guided her. Taking her kalash, she stepped into the river. She did Surya Pranam, followed by worshipping the river as Mata Ganga before diving 3 consecutive times in the river and filled the brush kalash with water and slowly, gradually stepped out of the river. It was hard, harder, when she had to walk with all the wet clothes, more 14 kilometers in that situation. And it was around 4 p.m. when Van finally reached the temple. She knelt down, and for the first time in her life, she did the Jal Abhishek. She had been preparing her list for so long time, but when it was the time when she was offering the water to Lord Shiva, she actually could chant nothing but Om Namah Shivaya. She couldn't think anything. After emptying the kalash, as she turned her face, she found a little girl waiting for her turn. One stepped aside and stood in front of Nandidev. One was now stable. She could think and remember her list of wish. With a bright smile, wet and soiled clothes, she bent down and whispered her full list in Nandidev's ear. After that, joining her hands for one last time, she knelt down and touched her forehead on the temple floor. Was she tired? No, she was exhausted at her highest level. Was she hungry? Maybe, may not be. Her feet was burning. She almost had no energy left in her body. Though she was thinking about Namjoon, whether he had eaten or not, but she was so exhausted that she couldn't even gulp down her thoughts as her throat was too dry. However, she managed to get into her room and started taking off her saree, which was wet and dirty. Would you like to have some water? Namjoon knocked on the door. To his surprise, the door wasn't locked from inside and his head popped into the room. The one who was standing in front of him was absolutely not the woman he had been knowing for so many years. She was not the woman who was aware of her etiquettes. She was struggling to detangle the wet fabric detaching from her body in most decent way, but left too confused. Yeah, sure. She turned her face and saw Namjoon. Have you eaten anything? She asked with concerned tone. Namjoon smiled. I have. But you are not full, right? I mean, it would be a all veg meal and you always prefer meat? One apologized. Namjoon took a few small steps and stood beside her. Your sister-in-law gave me this. There is coconut water and plain water. Come on, start hydrate yourself. Without any word, one sipped. Will you help me to get rid of this main fabric? Namjoon wanted to tease her, but he didn't say anything. Just chuckled and started helping her by taking off the safety pins. I think you need to take a quick shower. Boss, whatever you order. I'm ready to follow. One smiled and went to the washroom. Namjoon quickly found a comfortable place for himself, roughly scanned the bookshelf and took a book which had no name imprinted on it. And as he turned the pages, he found it was Van's diary, where her college friends had attached their photo with Van and had written something about her. Sitting on the cozy corner, he continued reading Van's college life diary. He couldn't stop smiling seeing the skinny Van who just looked like a schoolgirl even in her college days. And Van was done with shower. Namjoon raised his head as the beautiful flowery fruity smell of the body wash hit his nostrils. Aren't you hungry? Namjoon heard Van's voice and shook his head in no. But I am. She bent down to take off her silver anklet. Then accompany me? Okay. Namjoon put the diary on Van's luggage bag and stood beside her. Why are you taking that off? You liked it? All these things? Didn't you find the mud dirty? Van smiled and looked at him. Okay, I will be wearing this till I would join the office. Namjoon didn't expect that she would not take off her heavy silver anklets just because he told her to do so. He was feeling overwhelmed. The Van, who used to be rigid and restricted whenever she was told to wear ornaments, was standing in front of him with a caring attitude and soft smile on her face. Van, it was hurt. Why did you do that? I mean, you got dressed up just to fetch some water from river. Namjoon questioned and Van smiled. You may say that I am an old soul, but this is the ritual. When I was a small kid, my great-grandmother used to tell a story about this day. Isn't this a festival? Namjoon asked and Van chuckled. Throughout the whole month, people offer water to Lord Shiva, and it's the last Monday of the month, Sawan, so it's special. What's so much special about Monday and offering water the whole month? Namjoon was surprised. I have no evidence, I was told, and I believe that on a Sawan Monday, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati got married. And we all dressed up because we were going to fetch water for their pre-wedding bathing ceremony, and the whole month people offer water because we believe that Lord Shiva rescued the earth and drank the poison. To stabilize his body, his biggest devotee, the devil king Ravana, offered him water. And we follow his simple action. Namjoon was overwhelmed by the story behind this massive amount of enthusiasm among people. Tell me, what did you like the most? One asked him. I liked everything. Everything was beautiful, but I wanted to ask you something. Why you didn't wear the red and white bangles with the green ones? The red powder thing on the middle partition of hair? The black and golden beaded necklace thing? Those women were looking exceptionally beautiful. Their facial features, body structures didn't matter at all. Why you didn't put on this? By the way, you are not good at hiding. Namjoon playfully chuckled. Excuse me, Kim Namjoon? I just didn't tell you the whole thing. I didn't hide anything from you. One protested and Namjoon smiled. These green glass bangles you were wearing through the whole month and hiding them under your full sleeve dresses. I must say it was cute. Lowering her head, Van uttered, I actually thought you might make fun of me. religious at all, but I like this, eating only veggies, allowing myself for no food from outside, and these bangles. I feel shy, but I have promised myself that when I will be married, I will put on the vermilion. I will wear the red and white bangles, specially made from conch shell, like those mad women you had seen. Namjoon took a few steps towards Van. What was your wish? I would be very happy if you say that you have recited my name in your wish. I have recited your name, so? Van playfully pinched on his cheeks, and he let her to do so. As I, Kim Namjoon, am not a mind reader, I would love to fulfill my part in your wish if you tell me. Okay, if you promise me to help, actually, I want to wear this sari. Confused, Wen actually asked for help, but indirectly. Namjoon nodded. He played the sari draping tutorial in her phone and started draping. What was your wish? Guess? Wen chuckled. Namjoon frowned. You wished me luck? Wen smiled. Namjoon, with 148 IQ and 181 centimeter height, you were all ready to conquer the world. Namjoon literally blushed, but soon he recovered and looked at Van. Another hint, please. Namjoon was helping Van to make the pleats. Van nodded. Then complete the sentence. I want to be your. Namjoon frowned. I want to answer wife, but I know it won't be the correct answer. Yet it would be correct diplomatically. He quickly wrapped his arms around her waist and took the pleats to tuck. Would be wife, will you like to tell me what was your wish? His breath fanned her neckline. Namjoon knew this action makes her irresistible. When almost whispered in his arms, I know our love will be faded with time. So I wished, may I become your habit so that I may be your company forever. And don't try to make me emotional in this state. We will be leaving for Korea after finishing the meal. I have requested Young Yeokpa to book my return ticket to Hanguk. He might have booked for you too. Can you call him? And Wen tried to act casual, but vermilion was already spilled on her nose. She raised her head and looked at the mirror. Honestly, she was overwhelmed. It was something she could only visualize, but it was real. She gulped down her emotions and chuckled. This year, it's a Adhik Maas, Papa. We are still not husband and wife. Namjoon chuckled in disbelief. Okay, you are the law, so what you say is the law. Now quickly eat some food and break your fast. I don't want to lose this romantic version of you. We will be leaving soon for our home.